How do you make sure your kids who are maybe going through it for the first time understand that, sure, you may not know where Bryant is, and you may not have even seen an America East conference game in your entire life, but this team can make our lives miserable and would be a loss that you think about the rest of your life. I mean, how do you make them understand that if you have to?
Tom? That's the ticket. I think the one advantage I've had of being here, 30 years and gone to a Final Four as a 7 seed, been beaten in the first weekend as a 1 seed. But I've got that famous 15-2 against Middle Tennessee back, I think, in 5th or 16, somewhere in that area anyway. And they were a 15 seed, we were a 2, and we got beat opening night. So I got enough ammo when you've been around as long as I have, man. And I deal with the white elephant in the room, man. I just talk about it because I ain't worried about them getting afraid or scared. That's part of the nature of the beast. And right now, the one and done time that only us and the NFL, your favorite place, has, football, because pro basketball, pro hockey, pro baseball, they got those series. You can screw up a couple times, still win it. We're one and go home, so it gets a little hairier in our sport.
Yeah, and so how much tape do you grind of Bryant? Like, do you turn to your staff and say on Selection Sunday, okay, you know what your deal is, go to work, and then what happens? What happens next, Tom?
Well, we've got a bunch of managers here. It's really cool, Rich.
Right.
Someday you're going to fly in here and see it, and it's like Santa's helpers. The selection comes, and we've got like 10 tapes on these guys. We got all the information. We got scouting reports. It's amazing what we can do now, and thank God to a lot of other workers. And then I do press conferences and sit back, But then I start working late at night. We do watch a lot of film. That's the football mentality that Mooch put in me. I'm a filmaholic as far as that goes. But at the end of the day, players play the game, and the ball's got to go in the basket. You got to defend it. And it all becomes real simple once the night comes.
Cleveland, Ohio. So I imagine that's a nice location, for somebody who wants to drive even, from Michigan. You got this thing, that state down south, as some people in the state of Michigan would like to say. So you got that working for you, right? I mean, you could get a nice little home court potentially against Bryant, which, by the way, is from Rhode Island, in case the guys in the room need to know.
Bryant is coached by a good friend of mine's son.
Okay.
Who you should know, but you probably don't. But his name is Phil Martelli. He was an assistant at Michigan the last couple of years.
I know Phil.
He was the head coach at St. Joe's forever, and on a lot of committees I'm on, and one of my better friends in coaching. And then we were laughing. I said, give me your son's number. I'm going to call him. This is before his championship game. I called him and wished him luck. And Phil says to me, hey, one of the mock drafts have us playing you guys. And I said, this was his dad telling me, and I said, no way. Sure enough, 2 days later. So I called Phil back, and I told him not to give him any of those old Michigan scouting reports on us, but blood's thicker than water, so he probably blew me off.
I love that. You don't dare call him and say you got a scouting report on your son's team, right? Like that's a waste of your breath, right, Tom?
No. Blood is thicker than water, like I said.
Yeah, absolutely.
That ain't gonna happen.
And then let's just say, in terms of surviving and advancing, what is it like on the day in between in a hotel room, right? If you're fortunate enough to have this opportunity, and what happens then to keep things going here and keep the momentum flowing in a tournament like this, Tom?
Well, I learned after my first couple of years that we kind of prepare for the weekend,
Right.
So really right now, I got some assistants looking at New Mexico and some at Marquette. And unfortunately, we play the 10 o'clock at night game. Now, that's only 7 your time, because I know you go to bed early, but it's 10 o'clock at night, so we won't get back to the hotel till 1:30 in the morning. But that's when you really get to grind it. I think that's the most fun of college, as far as a coach. You you see how long you can work and how ugly you can look, and then and how bad you can feel, and see if you can prepare for the next team. So that'll be sometime Sunday if we win.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.